Our virtues and our failings are inseparable like force and matter. When they separate, man is no more. Be alone, that is the secret of invention. Be alone, that is when ideas are born. One must be sane to think clearly, but one can think deeply and be quite insane. Invention is the most important product of man's creative brain. We crave for new sensations but soon become indifferent to them. The wonders of yesterday are today common occurrences. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. The day science begins to study non-physical phenomena, it will make more progress in 1 decade than in all the previous centuries of its existence. Of all things, I liked books best. If your hate could be turned into electricity, it would light up the whole world. I don't care that they stole my idea. I care that they don't have any of their own. The present is theirs. The future, for which I really worked, is mine. The feeling is constantly growing on me that I had been the first to hear the greeting of one planet to another. My brain is only a receiver in the universe. There is a core from which we obtain knowledge, strength, and inspiration. I do not think you can name many great inventions that have been made by married men. The scientists of today think deeply instead of clearly. One must be sane to think clearly, but one can think deeply and be quite insane. Life is and will ever remain an equation incapable of solution, but it contains certain known factors. What one man calls God, another calls the laws of physics. You may live to see man-made horrors beyond your comprehension. All that was great in the past was ridiculed, condemned, combated, suppressed, only to emerge all the more powerfully, all the more triumphantly from the struggle. If you only knew the magnificence of the 3, 6, and 9, then you would have the key to the universe. As I review the events of my past life, I realize how subtle are the influences that shape our destinies. The individual is ephemeral. Races and nations come and pass away, but man remains. Most persons are so absorbed in the contemplation of the outside world that they are wholly oblivious to what is passing on within themselves. Peace can only come as a natural consequence of universal enlightenment and merging of races, and we are still far from this blissful realization. Most certainly, some planets are not inhabited, but others are, and among these, there must exist life under all conditions and phases of development. Marconi is a good fellow. Let him continue. He is using 17 of my patents. Inventors don't have time for married life. Nij mi zausto sua krali mojij, vexto nisu imali esvoj. It is not in the shallow physical imitation of men that women will assert first their equality and later their superiority, but in the awakening of the intellect of women. Great moments are born great opportunity. We are all one, only egos, beliefs, and fears separate us. A new idea must not be judged by its immediate results. Genius is its own passport and has always been ready to change habitats until the natural one is found. One's salvation could only be brought about through his own efforts. Originality thrives in seclusion, free of outside influences beating upon us to cripple the creative mind. Be alone, that is the secret of invention. Science is but a perversion of itself unless it has as its ultimate goal the betterment of humanity. To know each other, we must reach beyond the sphere of our sense perceptions. Instinct is something which transcends knowledge. The hard work of the future will be pushing buttons. Deficient observation is merely a form of ignorance and responsible for the many morbid notions and foolish ideas prevailing. So astounding are the facts in this connection that it would seem as though the Creator himself had electrically designed this planet. These are only new devices for putting the weak at the mercy of the strong. My belief is firm in a law of compensation, that true rewards are ever in proportion to the labor and sacrifices made. My project was retarded by laws of nature. The world was not prepared for it. It was too far ahead of time, but the same laws will prevail in the end and make it a triumphal success. Though free to think and act, we are held together like the stars in the firmament with ties inseparable. These ties cannot be seen, but we can feel them. Every living being is an engine geared to the wheelwork of the universe. There is scarcely a subject that cannot be mathematically treated and the effects calculated or the results determined beforehand from the available theoretical and practical data. I counted the steps in my walks and calculated the cubical contents of soup plates, coffee cups, and pieces of food, otherwise my meal was unenjoyable. Misunderstandings are always caused by the inability of appreciating one another's point of view. This again is due to the ignorance of those concerned, not so much in their own as in their mutual fields. I am credited with being one of the hardest workers, and perhaps I am, if thought is the equivalent of labor, for I have devoted to it almost all of my waking hours. Merciless is the law of nature, and rapidly and irresistibly we are drawn to our doom. All these observations fascinate us and fill us with an intense desire to know more about the nature of these phenomena. All of these years of my service towards mankind did not bring me nothing but assaults and humiliations. War cannot be avoided until the physical cause for its recurrence is removed, and this, in the last analysis, is the vast extent of the planet on which we live. Universal peace is a beautiful dream, but not at once realizable. One of the most gratifying results of intellectual evolution is the continuous opening up of new and greater prospects. Antisocial behavior is a trait of intelligence in a world full of conformists. Uncleanliness, which breeds disease and death, is not only a self-destructive but highly immoral habit. Our first endeavors are purely instinctive, promptings of an imagination vivid and undisciplined. As we grow older, reason asserts itself and we become more and more systematic and designing. I was merely an automaton endowed with power of movement, responding to the stimuli of the sense organs and thinking and acting accordingly.